Hello everyone, Nick here, the Gaming Honor, and back for another video. So, we'll be talking about the Call Me Carson allegations, because that is all that they are. They're only allegations. And I will say, the allegations that are being spread is that Call Me Carson, when he was 19, had some conversations with a 17-year-old that were very explicit in a certain way. And we're going to get into those in a little bit as well. There is something interesting of note, I want to say. He was 19 and she was 17. So it's interesting because they're only really 2 years apart. To me, that's no big deal. It would be no different now if it was like a 17-year-old talking to like a 25-year-old. That would be a huge gap. And that would be maybe like, maybe not a great idea. But a 19-year-old talking to a 17-year-old, so it's interesting because, the conversation between a 17 and a 19-year-old is fine, but when you get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff, that's when we get into some interesting territory. So we're going to show you right over here, if I can flip over. Oh, there we go. So something interesting I wanted to point out was, so an adult can actually do it with a 16 or 17 in Indiana, but sending nudes, no, you can't do that. So that's an interesting thing I wanted to point out to me. Also, if that is the case, yeah, some girls might be trying to get attention. You never really think about that until you do. But the consent age in Indiana is 16, so I do want to point that out clearly. I don't think people are being very ridiculous. I think they're sensationalizing a lot, and I think it's funny because Keem isn't really going out this situation very good, in my opinion. I think you gotta back off a little bit, Keem. At least send a private DM being like, "Hey, Carson, I want to talk to you about this situation. I want to get down to the bottom of this. I want to understand what's going on here." Because if I go through, so Pegasus did a video, and all I'm seeing is just a bunch of text, which to me actually is not sexting. So sexting is when you send nudes to someone over text message. But having like steamy conversations, that's actually not sexting. So we can actually look that up. So let's look at the definition of sexting. So it's, oh, actually it is explicit messages. Okay, so we can't do that. That's a new one for me. So apparently, if you send explicit messages, that counts as sexting. Okay. Well, that changes a lot then. I did not know that. Well, always go into this situation with an open mind, guys. Photographs or videos, primarily between phones. So yeah, there is a lot of conversation, and he is pointing out that it's sexual. But I'm on the fence. I don't know. I mean, even if it was illegal, is this the worst thing in the world? No. If Call Me Carson was going after someone that was, say, 12 or 15, or maybe not even close, or maybe even less close to the age of consent, yeah, I don't think I would bat an eye on that one. I think that one would be taken very seriously. But this situation is very interesting. It just looks like Keem is just barging into the situation that he does not know everything. He does not have a confirmation. He's just going into it without anything. And it's like, and he's bragging about it. And honestly, let's be honest, Keem, you're trying to get your next paycheck. A lot of people are that way. I definitely think, Carson was 19. This girl was 17. Yeah, I don't think there's quite enough to go after Carson. I mean, I guess if you want to say this, yeah, he shouldn't have sent those messages, but I'm still like, again, she was 17 and he was 19. So yeah, the conversations go there, and I don't see any explicit pics. Granted, I hope they don't come up on my screen, because if they do, then my video is going to get demonetized. But knowing how YouTube is lately, probably will happen. But I screened through this whole thing that Pegasus just went through. It just seems like Keem is bunching in the story without really getting Call Me Carson's side. I think that's what the point I'm trying to get across. I don't think Keemstar should make this story without trying to get Call Me Carson's side first. It seems massively disrespectful. And granted, I understand there's a lot of accusations about who is what on the internet nowadays, and everyone's trying to be careful. At the bottom line is that parents need to have conversations with their kids about what's acceptable online, what's not acceptable online. It's like if you see a stranger danger, and walk away. But at the other hand, like this girl was 17, so she was almost about to be an adult. That's pretty close on the line. And if the age of consent is 16 in Indiana, you know, it gets into this really gray area because you're talking about, okay, what does internet law concern? What does Indiana law concern? And then you kind of meet in the middle. So I don't know. Like, I don't have a straight answer. But here's the thing. They are allegations. And I think people are jumping to conclusions. And I think they need to, like, pull it back on the brakes and wait until they get Call Me Carson's side. That's the bottom line. It's like, Call Me Carson needs to come forward. Call Me Carson needs to tell his side of the story. Now, if he feels guilty and he wants to come forward, yeah. And I'm sure there's going to be a judge and people that are going to assess the situation, and they'll make their call. And maybe they might say, oh, okay, 17 and 19-year-old, not a big deal. Or they might say, okay, it kind of breaks the law, but you didn't really act on it. It's a very tricky situation, and I don't think you can fully judge it without trying to get all the facts. And that's bottom line here. We don't have all the facts. We just know what Keemstar is kind of like propping up, what things are saying. Like, I would just wait. That's just my bottom line. But what do you guys think? What do you think about Call Me Carson? He did go through that drama last year with Katarina, which was unfortunate as well. And personally, I don't think he deserves to be canceled at this point in time because we don't have all the facts. And honestly, cancel culture is kind of toxic. If you don't want to like him, that's fine. But I think at the end of the day, don't make your full opinion about it until he comes out. But what do you think about the situation? Do you think he's in the wrong? Do you think he's not in the wrong? Do you agree with me that we should just wait on the situation until the stuff comes forward? 17-year-old, 19-year-old, not a big deal. But when you start getting into internet laws, that's an interesting story. So anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.